quickly introducing our speaker, Mr. Arun Divakaran. Arun comes with a lot of experience and has kind of made time for us today so that we can go through all the different AI tools which are necessary for a business analysis expert. So Arun has had 19 plus years in the IT industry where he's been a data strategist and digital transformation programs, portfolio, delivery, leadership, corporate training, whatever you ask, he's actually done that. He's an IC Agile certified enterprise agile coach, NLP practitioner, SAFe certified ADSM, certified Six Sigma black, yellow, and green belt. Also, he has had a lot of experience in training other people. He has organized 725 plus workshops across multiple topics like digital transformation, data science and analytics, data visualization, business storytelling, agile mindset enablement, a lot more. He has also been an author. He has written a book, Creativity, which includes the secret formulas of a creative teacher. There is also a book which is supposed to be released very soon in the first week of Feb, which goes by the name The Accidental Data Analyst. He's worked across some of the best companies in the world like Cognizant Corp USA, Equia, which is human data science company, and UST Global. He comes with a lot of experience in technology. Gen AI, which is something of like a buzzword right now because we need it across our daily roles as well. He has done that for every functional role, agentic AI framework, Python, Power BI, Google BigQuery, AWS, Azure Cloud, DevOps, Excel, VBA, MPP, MS, SQL, and a lot more. So Arun, thank you so much for joining us today. Are you there? Yes. So over to you, Arun. You can please start and get our learners engaged.
Absolutely. Thank you, Garima. Thank you for the introduction. Hi. So good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whichever part of the world you're from. I see a lot of people from different parts of the world. So first of all, I appreciate you all to taking your time to get some learning, right? So we have plenty of tools available in the market. We have so many things happening across the globe, right? Especially when it comes to this whole revolution that the generative AI has created. So I'm glad that, I appreciate that curiosity that you have to understand what this workshop is going to bring into you, right? Yes, so with my experience, all my experience, I'm now trying to convert it as part of a consultant and trying to share the knowledge, expertise, and everything to the various companies, corporates, as well as the educational institutions in the way how they are discharging their roles and responsibilities across, right? So I'll be interacting with you all over the chat, being a webinar, right? Of course, during the workshops, we'll have all sort of individual conversations, but here, let's have more of a chat conversations, okay? So, Garima, let's start with the first slide. I'll probably take it up from there, okay? Because I have a few other things which I added, which I was not able to bring it up. So I'll share the screen once that's done. Okay. So first things first, the hot seat of a business analyst, right? It is the topic of discussion today. So my friends, before I get into this whole work, correct? I wanted to give you all, let's start with a flashback, right? So since I come from a long experience journey, right? Started my career in 2005. So I wanted to say this whole term or this whole role called business analyst has been in existence more than 30, 40 years, even 10, 15 years before I even joined, right, the IT. So I kept hearing that term since then, right? But what has changed? We calling still, we have business analysts is happening across the globe, right? What has changed since then, right? The title and the role is the same. But can anyone guess me what has changed while we retain this title overall, throughout the years? Help me understand. You can put it in the chat box, my friends. As I said, that's how I'm going to engage with you guys, right? Yes. What has changed while we retain this term, while we retain this particular role? Anyone? Okay. Good. I would like you all to be interactive here, right? So that's what will make the session more interesting. Okay. Application, adding not just AI, if you really look into that, right? Of course, AI is the latest thing happening now, right? SDLC to agile, frameworks, methodologies, integration of AI, fantastic, right? Now, if you see, absolutely, the job profile of this role has been evolving. It has been changed, right? Now, today we are here, we are talking about AI. Now, next 5 years, things could drastically change. We don't know what's coming our way, right? There is huge world of uncertainty lying in front of us. Now, as a flashback story, I want to tell you a generic role of a business analyst is actually to perform the analysis, right? You perform the analysis of the business. He understands what is the problem that he's trying to solve at an organization level, what kind of business changes that he need to do, right? Now, the first question I would like to ask you is, should a business analyst be technical? Answer to me in the chat, yes or no. Should a business analyst be technical? Okay. Bunch of S's and no's, right? Okay. So let me clarify that for you. Now, in the beginning of that time where I said, right, a person, when playing the role of a business analyst, he was pure play business guy, right? He looks through of all the changes, all the requirements that he needs. He puts down into a document, try to perform requirement gathering, understand the business needs in a very deeper aspect, right? But still, he would require some data to perform analysis, isn't it? Without the data, there is no way he can do analysis. Now, the thing that came was at that time, when a business analyst was in need of data, and data cannot be generated without the support of a technical person. It could be a developer, or it could be an architect, a solution architect, someone who is more technical. So the way how it used to be is the analyst stops his job, raises a ticket. We all had ticketing systems since that time. Raises a ticket, asks for what he needs in the form of data. He might say that I need 3 years of the last sales data, for instance, right? So he creates a ticket, and then it sits in the queue for the next 2 to 3 days. And the developer or another technical person picks it up once it is in his queue. He runs a query, or he runs an SQL query, or he runs some technical, he might have access to the code and everything. He runs some scripts and generates the data and then sends it back to the analyst. So imagine this whole cycle used to at least consume 4 to 5 days, right? I'm talking about the best case. I have seen cases where it has even taken 2 weeks of time, correct? Now, fast forward to today. You don't have time to go to the market. So every customer in today's world wants instant results, right? That means we don't have the luxury of waiting for someone else to do the task for you. Rather, you need to have scale up and engage yourself in a more technical role, which means to the extent that he doesn't have to go and do any part of coding or anything. He doesn't have to write to complex queries or anything. At least a level of basic requirement of knowing how to extract the data from the database, or how to perform some formulas using Excel. That level of requirement started growing up, right? Again, this is 10 years backstory. Now, if you come today, even the people, now that we know without technology support, without extracting data, performing analytics, it's become difficult for a business analyst to perform his role, thanks to the world of AI, which is now helping us to extract all this information without having to code explicitly, right? Without having to do a lot of things repetitively. So these are the revolution that has happened for this particular role. Now, when I say someone, right, especially the role of a business analyst, he is the key person of a project, right? And he has multiple tasks to do, ultimately ensuring that his requirements are developed, tested, delivered on time. The reason why I call this as a hot seat is because if something goes wrong, the first person to be asked a question is the business analyst, right? Now, in today's world, of course, with all the AI playing a lot of roles here, the things have changed in the way how the business analyst needs to engage. So first and foremost, more than just a requirement gathering or analysis, he's going on with the newer concept of interviewing, right? That means to say that the interviewing skills, how effectively you need to ask the questions. That means asking the right questions has become the norm. And the second part is the customer centricity, because anything and everything today, it's all about customer experience, right? Giving them the delightment needs, satisfying the delightment needs of a customer, right? So if you really look into the big picture of a customer needs, I can classify them into three, that says basic needs, performance needs, and delightment needs, right? So I'm here talking about for a customer to be super delighted. That's what the experience is all about. You give him the best of what you are already be doing. What is something that he would not have even imagined, right? So that when it has gone to that extent, so it becomes necessary for the business analyst to perform, to understand the business in depth, right? So this has become a critical need. So one is the asking the right questions, the right interviewing skills, and keeping in mind the customer centricity. And then comes the facilitation and networking, right? Not just mere connecting with the stakeholders. It is all the more become important that how you engage them effectively in the project, how you keep them on time, thanks to the world of Agile, all right, which has brought the four values and 12 principles, right, which is going to bring more collaboration between the clients and the rest of the stakeholders. Perfect. And then the next big thing which I would like to talk about is the storytelling aspect, right? Of course, how do we use our existing data? How do you carve out a particular story in order for the people? When I say people, the stakeholders, to understand it in a crisp and a clear way, right? So now, with all these demands, these are the new age skill that is expected out of a business analyst, right? Needless to say, the documentation part, because of course he has to document it. But gone are those days where you put everything just in a blind document, leave it. Today, it is a visual oriented documentation. That means the analyst has to be more visual, more articulative in what he wants to get things done, in the way how he wants to get things done. So this evolution into this job profiling, which has changed in today's world, is this is exactly what we are. I mean, this is a place where we are in, where the need of a business analyst to focus on these skills. Now, the question comes, how can he enable, right? This is where the world of artificial intelligence has come into play. So how do we effectively utilize these AI tools to support these new age skills? This is what our topic of discussion going to be so far. Got it? So tell me so far whatever I've just told. If you are with me, just type with me. I mean, just type it's clear, so that I can move on to the next topic. Okay. Great. Okay. So, Garima, if you don't mind, I would like to share the screen.
Sure, I'll just stop sharing.
Yes.
You should be able to share now.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Okay. So I'll just put it in the full screen mode. Can you confirm if you are able to see two screens or the full screen?
We can actually see the PPT version of it.
Okay, so I'm going to swap it. Now you should be able to see. Okay. All right,
Yes.
friends. Now, if you look into this picture that I carved out, right? You would have seen the 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 creative part here. The reason why I'm saying is because we are heavily engaging with artificial intelligence tools. The fact of the matter is our human intelligence should not be compromised at all. That means we got to be extra creative in order for us to effectively use the AI in the way how we want it. We all agree to that, right? So building that skill of creativeness is what every functional roles is required in the market today, right? Otherwise, our roles will get redundant, and it would because the only thing that differentiates between a man and a machine is the ability of the former to think creative. And what do you mean by creative? It is a simple practice of being observant and trying to understand all aspects of what the thing that you are trying to do, right? A complete level of critical thinking, logical thinking. When it comes to that level, you become more creative. You think out of the box, trying to understand how to look into a particular problem from multiple angles. And that's the reason why I emphasize a lot on that creator's part. Well, that's the whole reason why even I put it on this little slide here, because without being creative, utilizing no matter what you do, no matter how many tools that you are dealing with, it's not going to help. It will more look like this. You see that? You are able to see this nice little picture here that talks about, I'm sure you would have seen it over the net or your social media, whatever. We are living in the world of information overdose. We have tons of information available, tons of tools available, but if you do not know how to make use of those tools in the way it is supposed to be used, then this is where the human creativity goes for a toss. So shall we all do a quick check now? Shall we all just see how a quick creativity test? Okay, ready? This is a compartments, bunch of compartments with an engine. All right. So I'm going to ask you to guess the number which is in the question mark. Just by looking at this, what would be your answer be? Come on. Doesn't matter if it's wrong, right? We are not here to evaluate, score, or judge or anything. It's a fun game, but I'm going to convey a message strongly to you. Okay, I see bunch of answers. Very different answers, right? Now, all right, I'm going to shift to the next one. Now, can you tell me? I just sequenced it. Now, can you tell me what is the missing number? See, now majority of the people are getting it right. You see the difference, my friends. This is the approach of a creative mind. All we what we did here between the previous exercise and the current exercise is we created a framework in our minds, right? First, the previous slide, it was all random. It was quite difficult, right? To actually understand, okay, what is the connection? What is the pattern that I'm trying to look for? But when I try to sequence it in an ascending, it was easy for you to actually guess the answer. This is what we call it as a predictive analytics, isn't it? So what we did in our mind is we created a framework. We put together a sequence and then try to understand what is the underlying pattern between this number, which is helping us to predict what is coming up next. Isn't it? Similarly, for a business analyst role, we work on a framework, right? What are the typical framework? We have core processes like initiation, planning, execution, delivery, and so on. And then we work on a bunch of tools like SWOT, case diagram, which is what we are going to do in a few minutes, right? Rules, documentation, prototyping, etc., etc. So a framework plays a majority part of our thinking, right? Again, my friends, I'm emphasizing on the need of human creativity. That's exactly the way how I induce the creativeness in the way people should think when it comes to attending these kind of workshops, right? It's not just about the usage of tools or trying to, query something or trying to prompt something. It's the way how you need to apply it, right? Now look into the next one. Now tell me, is there anything wrong in this particular picture? Right? I'm looking through the comments. So I have two screens. So I'm just looking at the comments. Yes. Now, my friends, what is lacking here? Right? The person, he did everything correct. His checklist was done. Right? So he had a neat checklist that says, okay, I need to lock this bike. I wrote it here. I knew where to lock it. I locked the bike and then I did my other routine tasks. But what is missing here is the effectiveness of what he did, right? It should not, in this case, it appears to be that he just was not aware of what he was trying to do. He just was told to do a quick lock and he did it and he left it. But the purpose for which you are locking it has not met. This is what happens in the world of AI when a business analyst doesn't go, not only business analyst, any functional role for that matter, project manager, release train engineer, scrum master, whatever be that role, my friends, right? If you do not have the big picture, if you do not know for what you are actually working for, if you're not aware of what you are trying to do in the first place, then it will appear to be like this lock pike with no purpose, with no effectiveness of the outcome. That is the reason why I emphasize when it comes to the learning of any new tools, topics, or anything, we need to first of all understand why we are learning the topic. How is it going to imply into my day-to-day routine? How I can apply them effectively in my routine, right? The effectiveness of the learning is what is lacking in today's world. And that is what I have seen, especially with this evolution of AI, right? So now, if you take a quick look into our life cycle of a business analyst, I'm sure people who have already been working in the cycle, do you know what I'm trying to mean, right? So you understand the business, you understand the goals, you define the project scope, you perform the elicitation of the requirements, analyze them, then start documentation, communicating the requirements to the various stakeholders. You do some process modeling, verification of solutions, etc., etc. Now, I am going to say in the next few minutes, we are going to handpick a particular case study, right? Because of the limited time. Here, each and every step of this, right, the cycle, the steps that we go through, we have supporting AI tools in the market, and it is growing big time. Right from understanding the business, right? The challenges that we all have is understanding the business parts. If you're not understanding the business, and if you might be extremely good in technology, writing scripts or whatever, but if you've not understood the business, then the effectiveness will be just like that lock bike. And that is what I'll be referring to in most of our work, right? I don't want something to be done for the sake of it. Rather, you understand the purpose and your contribution, how it is directly or indirectly impacting the final outcome. Got it? Now, the AI, right? We are getting into the world of AI now. It's the time to act, because if you really see, since I come from a lot from the healthcare industry, my friend, it is touching the 45.2 billion in the market value, and we are expecting, right? it started to grow, and it's going to hit that value by 2026. And fraud detection is another major aspect happening in the AI world. And if you see 29% of the Gen Z employees, so which means the people who are fresh out of the colleges or even the final years, right? They are using these generative AI tools. And also of late, they've started working on building the agents, which is the next big thing coming up in the AI world. All right. So you can see ChatGPT, since its evolution, was the first to reach the 100 million mark, right? In a span of what? I think 5 days or something, right? So by now, 65% use ChatGPT instead of search engines because of the value that it is creating. And almost 1.5 billion people have started using chatbots, which is which is something which is significantly growing in almost every sector, right? And just like the chatbots, the virtual assistants, right? The virtual employees, right? You would have seen some of the videos floating in the social media about that as well, correct? So, and last but not the least, 20% of the global workforce will be AI-driven machines in 2028. So these are the sources from the McKinsey, Gartner, and Forbes, as that says. Right? Yes. Now let's take a quick look into the AI umbrella before we start our first activity, right? So it's not a new term, artificial intelligence. It has been there for a very, very long time. And then it started going through this whole world of machine learning, deep learning, and now this whole thing called as generative AI has come into play, right? So ultimate purpose is, right, what we don't have to go too technical into knowing what these are, right? I just want to get you quickly into the hands-on here. So the purpose is every AI technologies, right? If you really see today, all the tools which used to be existing before 2022, since the beginning of this whole revolution of AI, they were all working fine. They were all focused on automation. You would have also seen the robotic process automation coming to place, right? But since 2022, the late 2022, you can see every tool is now being powered with AI, right? They need some sort of AI to support their day-to-day task. And that is how it has come down to the level of the usage of the tools in today's world, right? No, you take any tools that you have been using so far, our own Microsoft Office 365, right, which is now coming integrated with the Copilot, right? So we need that kind of a support in performing our routine tasks. So that said, you can see AI is empowering almost all business areas. Retail, healthcare, manufacturing, finance, you name it. It's all being empowered in this using the AI, right? And of course, since I come from a rich healthcare background, I have personally seen the way how healthcare has evolved, especially in the last 2 years, right? And it's still growing big time. And newer tools are coming into the market to support our needs, correct? Not only from a hospital standpoint, surgeries, robotic surgeries or anything, but I'm even talking about even a simple registration application, even a member portal application, which is what we wanted to look into it today. So that level of evolution, that level of empowerment has happened thanks to the revolution of AI, right? Anything that you feel that these are any industry which I have not listed here that you think is maybe you are part of it, you think that's also there in the AI, please do let me know in the chat. Yes. Okay. Engineering. Okay. Engineering, mechatronics, mechanical, perfect, right? So now let's just get our hands wet. Let's just try to do a small, interesting activity here. Now, we all know we have been using generative AI, I'm pretty sure, correct? At least in simpler forms, even if people who are in the college schools, They might have at least used it for writing their assignments, leave letters, and whatever, right? So let's take a quick summary of what generative AI is, right? It's nothing but a technology that creates original contents. We all seen that. It generates human-like responses using the natural language task. And that was actually the superset of the deep learning part that we just saw in that core shell, right? And it is helping us to design visuals, graphics, product markups, artwork, and whatnot. And it's also started composing the music, isn't it? So what happens behind the scenes? You can just take a quick look into that. If you see the generative in action, all we trying to do, the first and foremost thing we do is we give an input to an LLM, right? LLM is nothing but the large language model, just like ChatGPT, Microsoft Copilot, Gemini, Claude, right? Perplexity. We have a lot of new age tools available. So you give an input, you have a template, we construct a template, right? And you get you receive the responses from the LLM, and it generates the output based on how you have prompted it. And that is the reason why this whole world of prompt engineering has come into play, right? So now, as I said, again, I'm coming back to that point where I said the human creativeness. It is not about just asking the question. It is asking the question in the right sense for you to get the answer. That's where the human creativity is very much sought after. All right. If you can ask 10 questions and get an answer, you can answer 2 questions and get the same answer, isn't it? So tell me, in these two contexts, what has changed? What is the difference? It's the difference in the way the later ask the question. So in our generative AI terms, asking a question to the ALM, we call it as a prompting, right? So what is a prompt? A prompt in simple terms is an instruction, a question or input you provide to an AI model based on the the knowledge that it is trained on. It is actually the bridge between our intent and the content that the AI has generated. All right, this is all the simple, a very 35,000 feet level view of the prompt engineering part. The first thing is you prompt something into the large language models, and it generates you an output. Now, how you instruct, how you question in order for the kind of response that you need is where our creativeness comes into play. As a platform, this LLM provides us, this acts as a bridge between what is the user intent and ultimately the content that the tool has generated for us based on the way how it has been trained. Isn't it? Now here come, remember this exercise we just did, the compartment prediction and all those. There I said prompting is important. I mean, where I said framework is very important, right? So we have to think in certain ways. If you think in the right ways, if you are asking the question in the right ways, we get the right responses. So for that, we have a framework in the way how we need to prompt. All right. So what is it? We have a way to execute a prompt, and that's what we're going to actually look into, right? So what does that mean? So we have three, in fact, a lot of different prompts. We are going to just take a quick look into the 6 types of prompts. The first and foremost, we call it as a zero-shot prompting. You just instruct the AI without any examples, isn't it? So suppose you have a task, and the task is you have to define the user requirements for a brand new human resourcing system. So the example of that kind of a prompt is list key features. You should have to enhance the employee onboarding and performance management. That's it. You directly provide a prompt without any examples. Now, when you give one example, that becomes a one-shot prompting. So in this, you see the difference? the task is for the person to create a user story for a payroll system. Now you see the example. They are setting an example first. They say that as an employee, I want to view my pay stubs online so that I can track my earnings. This is the example. Now I'm asking you write a similar user story for requesting time. So when you give an example and prompt, we call that as a one-shot prompting. Again, what is the next one? You all know. Just it's a self-explanatory. A few short prompting, that means you're providing few additional examples. In order for it to understand bunch of examples, and then it gives you the output. So in this case, it is giving 3 examples of a customer, right? And finally, it says, write 3 business rules, write 3 more business rules for an e-commerce system. So these are the way how we affect. Now, why am I explaining this? Because we are going to do some prompting here. So you got to be very clear on how we are actually prompting. The next is, this is the example we are going to use, chain of thought prompting, right? And this is the way how we are going to solve a complex problem in a multi-step manner, which means it is going to also tell the reasoning why it has come out with this particular response. Like for instance, when I showed you that sequence 3, 5, 8, 12, and then when we all responded it as 17, right? So there is a pattern that you derived, right? So you actually have a reasoning for which you made a decision that, okay, it's because of this factor, I'm going to say that I'm going to guess it as answer is going to be 17. So that's the kind of prompting, that's the kind of thought process we apply it when prompting. We call that as chain of thought prompting. So in terms of example is you break down a process, right? So what do? Right? So analyze the current market position, go through the financial feasibility, implementation roadmap, and so on. The next is the role play, which means you are going to play yourself a role. So in this example is a role can be any role, project manager, doctor, nurse, a systems analyst, a tester, a developer, a client, whatever it is, you specify the role and that is going to help you to get a better response. So the example is you act as a seasoned business consultant, specializing in subject matter expert growth strategies. You develop a comprehensive marketing plan for a local bakery. So when you are giving a role, right here, what is the role? Seasoned business consultant. That is the role that you are setting. And negative prompting is, last but not the least, negative prompting is what are the things that you should avoid when you are actually trying to get a targeted output. So you're going to, as an example, you see, you're going to write a comparative analysis, comparative analysis. And I'm saying avoid that sounds a comparison that sounds biased, any subjective language, avoid any sort of emotional arguments, right? So you are giving a step to tell what things to be avoided. So my friends, these are the way how we prompt our system in a very effective, clear sense. This would enable us to be more creative in asking the right questions and getting the right responses. So are we all ready? Just type ready that we are going to do a first hands-on case study. All right. Now, keeping this concepts understanding in mind, I'm going to show you a quick case study here. Now, what is this case study, my friend? This is a real-time case study, guys. Okay, this is what I mean by real-time is this happened. This is something personally that I was part of this whole initiative during my tenure at the client side in US, right? I changed the names and everything just to ensure the privacy. So, but the concept was the same. So this is basically a health insurance provider. Okay, so we have a health insurance provider. I'm going to share you what the case study is going to be. it does not have currently a solution to provide members with a self-help, self-service options. Like if a member wants to, what do you say, um, change a primary care physician, or if they want to change the demographics, or if you want to apply for an ID card, right? The member had to literally call up the customer service of this company. And it used to consume a lot of time for them to actually get something what they want. Even though this company has been in existence for more than 30 years, right? A bunch of new players came into the market in the last decade and started started to take over the market share. This is a huge gap. So even though they have a steady set of members, steady set of insurance customers, but because of the new age adoption of the newer players in the market, their market share has started going down. All right. Now, we wanted you are the business analysts, right? Because we are all going to do this here. We are going to actually figure out using the AI, right? First, let's do a proper prompting and try to get an insight of how to frame set of requirements. Okay, let's start. So first thing is I'm going to share you the case study link, which is going to be here. And let me know once you are able to take access. Okay, so I'm going to share it with everybody here. So this is the link where you will have access to a case study. What is the first thing that you will do? Right? Number one. Can you all confirm me that you've got access to, you're able to look at it? Just type in the chat box. Okay, thank you. Okay, watch me what I'm doing, and you can do it parallelly as well. Okay, people who are all in the system, who are not logged into the phone, it will be more effective for them. Okay, so the first thing is, let's see how quickly we are going to convert this. Now, this is the executive summary where I have clearly mentioned more than 25 years in existence, right? So they have seen some new entrants of the players, and they they need to figure out some newer ways to engage the members, otherwise they will lose the market share, right? So the biggest challenge for them was all the members of that insurance company could reach them through only the phone calls for the basic tasks, like I said, correct? So they feel that there is a big chunk of thing that needs to be done. And this is a simple, very crisp case study. The question is, as a business analyst, how we are going to create a proper requirement sort of format. Because when it comes to one of the big deliverable for a business analyst is to create a business requirement document, isn't it? With all the sections and things filled. So how do we prompt it? So shall we all go and you can do parallelly with me. I'll show you and you all can just do that and let me know the results. Okay. So let's go log into the chat GPT. Okay. I am going to, I'm going to close this one very quick. Yeah. I'm sharing this. Okay. So I'm going to attach this. Okay. Right. The first thing, something of this sort, it used to consume at least 10 to 15 days for a business analyst to do, right? So I'm just attaching this and I'm going to issue the prompt that says, attached is the case study right? I'm just telling it what it is. Read, I'm asking it to read through the case study and help me prepare the requirements document with all appropriate sections, right? I'm just giving it a very straightforward prompt, not even specifying anything. I wanted to see how this is going to be evolved, right? This is the first prompt I'm giving. And then we are going to give subsequent prompt, which is what I told you about the chain of thought prompting, right? So help me prepare the requirement document with all the appropriate sections. So let's see what it does. Right? Watch it. It has created a complete set of sections. A member portal for the OptiPayer group. Introduction, it has generated the purpose. I did not mention anything, right? It created the scope. What is the scope of work? It specifies the stakeholders, and it has mentioned current challenges, goals, objectives, and bunch of functional requirements, along with various self-service features, which I just mentioned in the form of text. You see that? And it also created a bunch of non-functional requirements that could be performance security in terms of how it needs to be available and all those related things. Right? Except for one portion, of course, budget is something we might have to personally check with our leadership and or all the other stakeholders and try to get this. With all this said, it has come out with a clear understanding of the a complete outline of the requirement document. Now tell me if how many of you were able to get this? Yeah, I know some of you are asking me to attach the chat, attach the document in the chat. I doubt, my friends, I was not able to. I think there is a restriction for me to attach it in the chat. That's the whole reason why I put it in the share. Right? Yes. There is a Zoom restriction. Okay. Good. I see people have responded. They were able to create the sections. Many of you got similar responses. Very good. Okay. See, right now, we have not applied any of our thinking part because we've just started to first create an outline of the requirements. Right? The next is, if you want, right now, the next thing what you need to do as part of our further evaluation is, as I said remember in the third slide, I said, I would like to understand few basic questions. Now that you have attached and shared and it has created, I can simply ask, what problem are we trying to right? Now you see, you can ask n number of such questions on that topic. So it's saying that the primary problem that we are trying to solve is inefficient member engagement. Right? And it is telling what are the operational challenges, whichever things I had in mind, just by the way how I shared the case study in ask, it has done its own critical level of analysis. And what are the typical competitive disadvantage, member satisfaction, outdated methods of engagements, and so on. You see that? So, my friend, these are the places where I feel we can make use of the AI to the best advantage, right? This is not it. I'm just sharing what maybe 1% of the things. And right, since we are running short of time, I'm not going to give you, I will not be able to give you the much deeper aspects. Of course, these will be covered as part of the major workshop, but as part of the very quick glimpse, you can see the value that these texts are generating to us just by the virtue of the way how we prompt it. All right. Now, I'm going to ask, once this is created, you can ask n number of questions here. You can all try and put it in the chat box on what kind of questions you asked and what responses you got. Can you all try that once very quick? Just ask some of the questions, right? And what kind of responses that you got? What was your type of questions? Okay, that's good one, Arif. Yes, the first prompt, you got it right. What problem? Okay. Oh, that's good, Ashish. You got budget as well. Okay, when you are using the Copilot, absolutely. I know. That's a good way to explore. Yes, Ambuj, correct. Right. Now, suppose I'm going to give you another situation here. This is just one very brief one. Correct. Now I'm going to ask you, hey guys, can you help me prepare a what is that called? The second big thing that we tend to use is I would like to do a SWOT analysis. Right? What is SWOT analysis? You all heard of it? SWOT. It's one of the framework the analysts use to identify the strengths, weakness. It's a matrix, right? Strengths, weakness, opportunities, and threats in a given context. Correct? Yes, absolutely. So now issue the prompt. Okay. I'm going to ask it now. With the information that I just received from the prompting, I would like to do a SWOT analysis, right? I'm going to give it queried like this, right? I'm just going to say, give me SWOT analysis summary of the above information. I'm just going to put it. Now you see. So it generated the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. A normal SWOT analysis for a business analyst used to consume at least a week for them to actually finalize, get approval from the stakeholders and publish it. But here, just by giving the context, we are able to generate it. Right? Now, tell me, friends, what is a major role of a business analyst once as part of the requirements gathering? Whoever is there in this, whoever is experienced enough, or maybe have seen someone else doing this role, even if you're a project manager, that's fine. If you have seen a business analyst, what is his role subsequent to creating business requirements? What is one of the things that he does a lot? Any guesses? Any guesses? Yes, excellent, Akhila, very good. Chaitra, analyze data, yes. Feasibility analysis, we do. The primary thing is he manages the stakeholders. Now the question comes, when he manages the stakeholders, what are the things that he needs to do? He needs to present in front of a larger audience on what the SWOT analysis is, isn't it? So that's exactly what they will tend to do. So which means he has to get the buy-in from various stakeholders. He has to continuously reach out to the people to make them understand what is happening currently, what are the challenges that they face, how I'm taking it further, continuous connection with them, right? Be it agile or waterfall. The whole purpose is they have to be informed at every time on what's happening in the market, right? Right? So now you see what I'm going to do. I'm going to take you all for a business analyst to help prepare a good set of visual summary. I'm going to introduce you to a quick tool called as right. This is eDraw. Okay, so eDraw.ai. So this is one of the versatile tool. As I said, you have lot. I handpicked one of them, which I tend to do personally use a lot. Right. So I'm going to pick up a particular template, and you see what I'm trying to do. Okay. Because now I need to get myself ready as a business analyst to present it to the people. So I just gave a simple opticare pair SWOT analysis, and I just copy pasted it from the chat GPT, right? It created this. Now I want to explicitly call out the strengths. So I'm going to copy this. I just kept it ready here. And you can see I'm just setting it up in a way just copying it out, and it is going to do the job for us, right? In terms of arranging it, and finally the threads. How about that, right? It's a tool which we can effectively use to visualize the findings that we have generated. This is one. We can export it to a PowerPoint or a PDF, which you can use it for articulation purposes with your other stakeholders. The next big thing is, right, we all need to talk about the timeline, right? One other thing is, help me to prepare a high-level timeline. So how do I go about doing that? So you quickly come here. I'm going to say, help me to prepare a project timeline, right? I would say high level. Now you can see it creates timelines. We
Arun, sorry to interrupt you. I think we can only see the chat GPT screen. We cannot see the tool. Or are we supposed to see the chat GPT screen itself?
yeah, chat GPT.
Okay, sure.
Yeah, so I just issued a prompt that says, help me prepare a high-level project timeline here. So it has given me a high-level project plan in terms of what is the month 1, week 1 and 2, 3, 4, design, development, month 3, month 4, and so on. Okay, so you all can issue the same prompt, friends, and see what is being generated. Okay. And it will clearly tell you that the milestones, what the milestones needs to be and how it needs to be applied.
Arun,
Hmm.
hi. Sorry to interrupt. Can we look at the eDraw.ai tool is what everybody is requesting. I think this was the previous prompt which we were using.
Okay, sorry. Yeah, look, this is the one, friends. eDraw.ai.
Thank you.
This is the SWOT analysis report. By just extracting it from ChatGPT and using it, you get a visual view of how the SWOT looks like. So you can export it. As I said, you can do an export. I didn't want to do, right? You can clearly use PDF. I can see you can use anything for that matter and share it with the people whom you want to, and then take the discussions forward. So this is a quick way to visualize what you have analyzed or what you have used the prompting responses to support your statements, right? Now, if you see, I am asking it to prepare a timeline, right? So I'm going to say this, update timeline to start with February 1st. Suppose I want a milestone, okay? So I wanted to update the timeline to start the project from February 1st. And I'm giving it some, what is this kind of a prompting? We call it as few shots, right? I'm giving it more examples. I'm going to say that the project needs to be end by July 25th. I'm saying give 30% of duration for requirements, 30 for solution design, 45 for development, 20 for testing, and 5 for deployment. Now, when I issue this prompt, you see what happens. It is giving me the phase durations, right? So roughly a requirement gathering would take this much, solution this much, development, testing, quality assurance, and so on. Now comes the next tool, which is very exciting here as well, right? So you just saw that's one of the tools which I consistently use. One is this OptiPair, the SWOT analysis, which I use the eDraw.ai. You can simply copy paste and it generates the pictures, it generates the models the way how we want it. And we can use it for our presentation. You can export it to your PowerPoint and then use it for your articulation purposes across the stakeholders. Okay, now I just showed you how to update the timeline because I need that to start with February 1st. I just asked them, and then you see this, it gave me this high-level project timeline. But again, I want to make it visual, right? I wanted to, create an infographic out of the whole thing. I would really like to make it more attractive so that I can start sending flyers to various team members, make them ready for their milestones. So what I do in this is you can see how easy various tools are. I'm copying, pasting these, right? Watch me here, okay? I'm just copy pasting this. And then I'm going to go to this tool called, PictoChart. How many of you have heard of it? PictoChart. Yes, no, yes, no. Okay. A lot of people know, right? Okay. Except for a few. All right. Now I'm just going to show you as part of this. You open You go to the site pictochart.com. Okay. And then you see the beauty of it now. Okay. I'm using this AI powered visual generator. I'm going to click on the timeline and I'm going to paste this text here. This plain text, what ChatGPT just gave me. Right. And I'm going to ask it to generate the timelines for me. See here, did you see the output? The project timeline is created. We have to do some adjustments. It has given us a template. It says requirement gathering phase, solution design, the development, testing and QA, deployment, and so on. We just have to adjust the font size and everything by editing this further and take it along. And we have a bunch of templates like this. Whichever we feel can be effective for us to take it forward for your discussion purpose, we can just use that. You see, I use this one. I just quickly change the template and then it came. Right? You can use this. And then it is also giving you the project summary. Spans 175 days with phases focusing on solution design, development, testing, and deployment. So tell me, friends, how do you think these connections are, right? So one, effective prompting. You're going to learn how to effectively prompt in order for us to get the job we need to get it done. Second is utilizing various tools that are available in the way how we wanted to effectively engage our stakeholders better. Right? So we have so many such tools that we'll be covering as part of the work. As I said, remember the picture I showed you, the multiple ladders. I would like to help you all understand the purpose of each ladder and how you're going to use that ladder to climb in order for you to be a creative business analyst. That is the purpose. The ability of a person, of an analyst, not only an analyst, any functional role, the ability of him to think creatively, think out of the box, and leverage the tools that is available in the market for him to be rising in his career. That is the way how we wanted to take this whole program. So did you all attempt this very quick? Let me see the chat box and see how many of you have attempted this picture thing. So we have, right, friends? So you all have seen me in the last, the time just flew by, right? This simple exercise itself gave us a huge idea of what is lying in front of us, right? And that is why even the book which I wrote was focusing on the creative aspect of the mind, how we need to utilize. It's all about human creativeness, right? So before I open up the room for questions and everything, I know we have very limited time, right? I'm a person, a very enthusiastic person, so I would love to actually continue this conversation, but because of the lack of time and the other things, I have to respect it. So and also some are waiting for some of your questions. So before that, I think Garima, you have something to share with the team.
Yeah, we'll just take a moment. Firstly, thank you so much, Arun. This has been such an engaging session. I'm sure everybody has found it very useful. Just quickly taking a moment to thank all our participants also who are here and request a quick feedback so that we can understand how we can make ourselves better and whether you've actually found much use in this. So just launching this, requesting everybody to take just one quick moment to give a feedback. I've launched the poll. I believe it'll take you less than 2 minutes to answer all of them, if you can please.
Yes. So, and friends, while you do that, I will look forward for your questions in the chat. It could be anything generic or anything related to the tool itself. or from the role standpoint, right? I know when I initially saw the chat boxes, chat messages, there were people from different backgrounds, like project managers. Some of them just finished out from the colleges and done some other courses, right? So I would really like to, see your questions. I'll be more than happy to answer them. Okay, so I'll go with one by one. Anita, prompts and user story. Now, user story is something that we use in agile world, right? It is more of a fine-tuned requirement in a specified format, with the agile framework has put in, right? As a uh, what I want as an employee, I would like to, right? As an employee, I would like to sign up for this form. So that's right. So that's a skeleton that we follow for a user story part. So that is different. If you are talking about prompting is basically you are trying to engage the AI engine in getting the responses that I want, which is going to support my day-to-day needs, right? It could even be a user story. That's what it means. Okay, next. Yeah, and a lot of people ask me about, yeah, the book is going to be launched, my friends. It's called Accidental Data Analyst in the first or second week of February. And again, that book is purely focused on the human creativeness, right? How do you engage the data-driven tools to make use of our, the skills a lot? So yes, that's the title.